But I'm not giving up hope. I believe we can make it if we try. We can make it if we try. Dallas experienced something that we haven't seen in this country in a long, long time. Maybe never. What does it all mean? How did we get here? I think we all know that. Some don't want to admit it. Some want to ignore it. Some are making excuses. Others don't give a damn. On the show yesterday, here on thepowerofvoices.com, the Lee Michaels Show, I'm sorry I didn't open up the show properly because I'm emotional today. I'm hurting. My show yesterday was about Stop the Killing. And I had to have that title again to people dying for no reason, no good reason. Is there ever a good reason for loss of life? Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm a softie on that. I think every life has some value. Sometimes some individuals don't get a chance to show their benefit, don't have an opportunity to contribute to society. Sometimes that's by choice, sometimes that's by ignorance, sometimes it's for whatever, any number of reasons. But life should be happy, joyful, full of sharing and caring, not hate, not anger, none of that. So I'm appealing to people again today to become a leader. You don't need a person standing up on the podium in front of a microphone with 100,000 people in front of them telling you what to do. You know what to do. There were peaceful people in the streets in Dallas last night doing what they thought was right. A peaceful protest. They have a right to do that. They had a right to do it, and they were doing it in a peaceful way. But one person, at least what we know at this point, one person changed the whole dynamics. It's still early in the investigation. We don't know everything that we need to know. But a young man who is 25 years old, using some type of an assault weapon, opened fire on the Dallas police. His bullets hit 12 police officers that were out there serving and protecting. None of these cops killed anybody. Five cops are dead. It's horrible. These are people who belong to families. Some of them probably married. We don't know the identity of all of the officers yet. I think only one has been named. Be they nameless at this point, their families will never be the same. whether they're married or not. They have a mother or father or cousins, uncles, whatever, sisters, brothers. They belong to somebody's family. So I feel sorrow, and I'm praying for those people. I continue to pray for those who have become victims of police brutality. I'm praying for peace and happiness, togetherness, unity, solidarity. America, we gotta stop this. I've talked to family members and friends, associates, and everybody's fearful. The cop that killed Castile, I think that he was probably frightened. We know now that cop, and I think he's relatively young. We don't know a lot about him. We know that he is Asian of some kind. We know that he's been on that particular police force for about 4 years, and his partner, who was there with him, they both came in about the same time. That's about all we know. We don't know about his prior history, whether he's ever used this weapon before, whether he has any military background. We don't know too much about him at this point. But I stated in the show yesterday, are the police officers, some, most, are frightened, afraid of getting out there doing their jobs because of so much violence in our streets today? Are they too sensitive? And I've had this discussion off mic with some friends and say, well, how can you be too sensitive? Well, you can be too sensitive to various situations and cause you to overreact or act improperly. I believe that. Just through my life experiences. There are times when I think I've overreacted to certain things or didn't react in a timely fashion or acted too soon. It happens. We're human. And we can't lose sight of that. So, the title of this show, again today, as it was yesterday, Stop the Killing. Whether it's police officers, citizens, black on black, white on white, black on white, Hispanic on Hispanic, whatever. Muslims. Life is too precious. At least that's how I see it. Am I looking through rose-colored glasses and thinking that life doesn't mean anything? I think we need to hear from a few more people to help inspire and get people motivated. And there's no question we need to have some calm. Everybody needs to back up, slow down, exhale, take it easy. I also think it would be appropriate for media stations, radio, television, internet, whatever method of delivery, AM, FM, satellite, that has any significant African American audience. You might want to consider, if you're a music-oriented station, Let me suggest to you, based on my experience, and I've been in this movie before, I know the beginning, the middle, and the end. Urban, black media, and I don't give a damn whether you're black owned or white owned or whatever. Management of these stations, step up, serve the public, talk to your public, your listeners. They need to hear from you. If there's a time in our history, media, do the right thing. Help bring calm to your neighborhood. The people that you make money off of every day. The audience that you serve. Though the Federal Communications Commission no longer require you to do certain things, I think there's somewhere in there that you're licensed to serve the community that can hear your signal. The true meaning of that kind of went away under deregulations of the broadcast industry starting under the Reagan administration. And not one president since then has done anything to revert it back to a healthier meaning, to hold the broadcast owners accountable. So I hope and pray that radio stations, television stations, print publication, to do the right thing. Put out some positive message. Your listeners, your viewers, your readers need to hear from you now. They're looking for answers because they're confused and they're scared. They're really frightened right now. They need a voice. They need to hear positive voices. Their voices need to be heard. I'm reflecting back when I was working at KJLH here in Los Angeles. Radio station is owned by the world famous, incredible artist of Stevie Wonder. And when the Rodney King thing jumped off, the rioting in the streets here in Los Angeles, we were on Crenshaw Boulevard. Everything around us was being looted and burned, except for the funeral home next door, the radio station, and one other building on the opposite side of Crenshaw Boulevard, which I understand was a warehouse for all the criminal records. They burned and looted everything around it except that building. Now, if I was a criminal, that's a building I would have set fire to. You know. But I'm bringing that up to say this. KJLH was and still is a music-oriented station. We stopped the music. We were in the center of it all. And I felt that it was important for our air personalities, our management, to talk to the community and allow the community to call in and voice their frustrations. And we were a major part of bringing calm back to the community of Los Angeles, California. And I think it's time for media all over the country, not just in Dallas, not just up in Minneapolis or Baton Rouge, Atlanta, Georgia, wherever, all over the country, because this is a nationwide issue. It's not just something that is in one or two little communities somewhere. It's a nationwide problem. America is hurting. America is bleeding right now. Did the display of gunfire last night, when I heard the gunfire, I went, oh my God. Pandora's box has no top and no bottom. There's somebody behind a gun, and it sounded like possibly multiple people. And the early reports, and I keep telling people all the time, you can't go by the initial reports and come to a conclusion on anything. There were reports there were multiple gunshots coming from different locations. There were 2 snipers up on a building. There was a guy in the street shooting cops, and then he was up in the garage. Maybe that's the same person. But based on what we know right now, one shooter. He doesn't seem to be tied to any militant group, no terrorist group. Based on the conversation he had with the police in Dallas when they were trying to negotiate with him to bring this thing to an ending, he said, I'm acting alone, and the reason I'm doing it is because I'm tired of white cops killing black people. His target was white people, primarily white cops. We don't need that in America. I do understand the frustration because of our negative history. And it's funny to me that some people seem to think that this is something new. It is not. People have been lynched, burned, shot, killed, beaten, disappeared, never heard from ever. The problem is technology has changed. This is the big exposer. There are over 300 million smartphones in America. In America alone. Our total population is just over 330 million. So almost every American has a phone with a camera in it. This is telling the story. Some people don't like it. Those that are doing wrong are getting caught in action. This is the game changer. Now it can be used in a positive light. Tell the true story, the full story, not the edited version, not the manipulated version, the made-up version, the social or the reality show version. The smartphone can be a very valuable tool to help tell the truth. Use it wisely, America. Use it wisely. Tell the real story, the full story, the truth. I'm not advocating doing anything negative. I'm a peaceful person. I believe in love, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. I believe in the American dream. I still believe in America. Let's not give up hope. Let's get back on track. Let's become more united. Some people don't want to hear my message because they're hurting. They're mad. They're pissed off. They're disappointed. They're scared. I think most people are. Philando Castile, from what we know from his mom, his uncle, I saw a video clip of his sister. That family is torn up right now. They're hurting. The day Philando was killed, he had a discussion with his sister and his mom about this concealed weapon. His sister stated around 2 o'clock just hours before he was killed that she was fearful of carrying her gun, and she has a permit, a concealed weapon permit to carry. It's not illegal. Neither one of them were doing anything illegal. Hours later, after she stated to her brother and her mom, I don't know if I want to carry my gun anymore because I'm afraid that maybe I could be killed, and questions asked later. Who knew that hours later, on that same day, her brother would be faced with that horrible experience? When I saw the live stream, I didn't see the live version of it. I saw a playback of it, but it's the same. Diamond describing what was happening when I saw the movement of this young man struggling for his life. It was a horrible, horrible experience. We saw life leave that man's body. To some people, probably most people, have never experienced that. Let's not experience that again. How can that happen? No more killing. In the little town that this happened in, reports that I've seen saying there were no police shootings. A cop had not used their gun in 30 years. What happened on that day that frightened this cop to the point? Now, as a cop, you're not supposed to use your firearm unless you fear your life in danger. So if he was going by that rule, what they're trained to do, what happened? Why did he shoot this young man? From the reports we've heard, at least 4 times. And continue to hold his gun on him while his life was walking away. And a 4-year-old child in the back seat. See, that's a horrible picture that we're going to live with for the rest of our lives. And we're also going to have to live with the horrible picture of the 5 police officers in Dallas that were killed last night. And their families are going through the same horrific, emotional roller coaster. It's a horrible ride. I don't wish that on anyone. The only way to bring an end to it is let's start having a little more respect, understanding, and love for life itself, your own. Let's try to bring the fear down. To our citizens, do the right thing. Don't antagonize or intimidate the cops. To the police officers, to the cops of America, be calm. Don't rush to judgment. Don't take a life unless you have to. Don't put yourself in harm's way. When the public see you commit these shootings and we feel that you rushed to doing it when it wasn't necessary, that goes on your report card. You have to understand that you're being judged by what we see. And I don't think the cameras are lying. If we see, like when down in Baton Rouge, we saw a police officer go over and tackle Alton take him to the ground. Then the other officer came over to assist. He was on the ground. I find it a little weird that you have a guy on the ground, you're still yelling, get on the ground, get on the ground. How much lower do you need to go? You are two huge officers. And you can't get this guy to give you his hand so you can handcuff him? I didn't see him fighting. He wasn't swinging on a cop or kicking a cop or elbowing a cop or putting a cop in a chokehold. None of that. Did you see that? Did you see? See, here's the problem. This is what got people upset. And I'm saying, folks, don't go crazy. Don't. No. Let the system handle this. Because when we go out and start looting, burning, shooting, killing, it distracts away from the original problem. Now, I understand. I get it. I'm listening to you. I hear you. Your voices are being heard. I get it. And I think anybody with an IQ 2 points above plant life gets it. Some people want to deny it. But no, you can't. This is real. So again, to our fellow police officers who are American citizens as well, if there are cops that you know are doing things that are wrong, they're breaking the law, they're not being good cops, they're not serving and protecting, they're doing some things that are not cool, I think you have a responsibility to report them. I know there's a blue club, and you guys stick together, and that's beautiful. I love that. But if you stay close to guys that are doing bad, it impacts on you. So when you're out there in the streets on your beat, doing your job, you're being judged, unfortunately, by some of the bad guys in your club. Clean up the club. To the community, to the people like me who live in the communities of America, be leaders. Be good citizens. You do the right thing. Do the right thing. Sometimes it might seem to be a little hard, but trust me when I tell you, doing the right thing is a lot easier than you think. Because if you do the wrong thing, it's like telling a lie. You tell a lie today, you got to tell another lie tomorrow to cover up the first lie, and then it keeps going. It's like a domino effect, and you continue to lie. So don't start that horrible, horrible domino effect of lying and doing bad things, stealing and robbing people, hurting people, beating up the elderly. I saw a video the other day. This man was walking down the street. I don't know whether he was a minority or not. And there was 3 other young guys walking behind him. Then the first guy that was behind him walks up and just cold cocks him, knocks him down, and they rob him. They beat him up and rob him. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's disrespectful. That's another human being walking down the street, minding his own business, not bothering anybody. He didn't say anything to him. It's called caught on a video cam, surveillance camera. That's just some heinous bullshit. It's got to stop. It's not positive. That's not good. And I hope they catch him. Take him to court, find him guilty, lock him up. Let me explain something to you, too. And I think most of my listeners understand this. The whole criminal justice system, the prisons and what have you, a lot of it is privately owned. They want you to do something little so they can lock you up for a long time. Don't give them that opportunity. Be a good citizen. Don't break the rules. Don't break the laws so that you become part of that system. A lot of money being made out of that, locking folks up. Now, I want to talk some statistics. Reports show that police officers shooting people, they shoot more white people than they do black. Some people may not know that. Not that that really matters, because some of the white victims, people that are being shot by cops, don't deserve to die either. Again, I go back to life for all. I believe Black Lives Matter. I support that as long as you're doing it peacefully. You're bringing attention to what's important to you and to me, that we happen to be black and we want to bring to the world's attention that our lives are important. And the reason is because there is a long history of disregard for people of color as the importance of our lives. So to those who are not of that persuasion, that disagree with that, try to find some understanding. Because there are other groups of people who have taken the same position, and they're not ridiculed. Do you say that about the Jews? Or if Hispanics come out? Or Asians? Why not? We are who we are. And what's wrong with being proud of that? What's wrong with being protective of that? Again, go look at your history. Go look at the history of America. That's why there are young people out in the streets today with signs that say, Black Lives Matter. I've heard government officials all the way up to our president. And I think that President Barack Obama gets it. He supports the concept of Black Lives Matter. He has to. He's black, his wife is black, his children are black. And we're all Americans. The governor of Minnesota spoke on the issue. Let's hear from the governor.
Would this have happened if those passengers, the driver and the passenger, were white? I don't think it would have.
He's correct. There's history and statistics to show. There are a number of videos online showing white people walking down the street with firearms on them, long guns, short guns, officers approaching them. The suspect is giving the argument that, hey, I have a permit to carry this gun. I'm not doing anything wrong. The gun is inspected. The officer says, have a good day, because they're not doing anything illegal. We've all seen those videos. You know what I'm talking about. So people get upset when they see a double standard. Where's the NRA? I was talking to a friend of mine early this morning. I've been working on this show since 5 o'clock this morning, Pacific time. And I said, hey, man, where's the NRA? Shouldn't they have had a press conference on this shooting of Philando up in Minnesota? According to them, that if they call a press conference, nobody will show up. I don't believe that. I find that hard to believe. I think that all the major TV and radio networks would be there with mics and cameras to hear what the NRA would say. So, NRA, I suggest to you, put out a press release, an announcement that you want to have a press conference and address this issue. Because if you don't, your membership, in my opinion, doesn't mean a damn thing. You want to fight for the right to have your members and Americans to have these permits and the right to carry a concealed weapon or a weapon to protect themselves. Where are you? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. There's a process, a procedure that if you have a concealed permit and you have your gun on you and you're approached by a police officer, there is a message that you're supposed to give that police officer. Officer, I have a weapon. I have a concealed weapon permit. And then the officer has to respond to that in the appropriate way. Did the police officer that shot Philando understand that process? Did he do the right thing? Now, I also understand that there are cameras that the police had, dashboard cameras and possibly body cameras. They need to come with that, and they need to come with that right now. Because the longer they do not show their side of the story, whether it's consistent with Diamond or not, leaves too much speculation. And the people in this country are looking for answers. So if you want to keep things calm, you better come with it sooner rather than later. Even if the cop is shown on your video did not do the right thing, I think people need to know that so we can have a sigh, not of relief, because there's no relief in this, but at least understanding and take away the guess, the speculation, the controversy. And then, if that is what happened, you need to pursue the investigation, indict, arrest, or not the police officers in question. As time goes on, the other end of the firecracker gets lit. In order to keep the community calm, come with the truth. I think America is ready to hear the truth, whatever that is. These are my opinions. This is how I see it. It's based on my life experiences, my love for life. And I want to see America smiling again. I don't want to see tears on the faces of Americans, because we can control this. We can get this under control. We need to do that right now. Let's make happy the theme. Love, peace, camaraderie, respect for your neighbors, respect for the authorities, respect for the communities, and the people in power. Respect the people that you're supposed to serve. We start there, we're on our way. I'm going to take a break. You're listening to The Lee Michaels Show on thepowerofvoices.com. I'll be back in a moment.
While you're feeding your body, feed your mind with thepowerofvoices.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Simone.
And this is Tiara, and we're the host of A Fat Girl's World here on thepowerofvoices.com.
Make sure you tune in on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 4 p.m.
Yes, and we literally talk about everything. Typically, women things.
Women things, but we get personal.
We get personal.
Super real.
So if you guys like real, here's a place to be.
At A Fat Girl's World at thepowerofvoices.com.
June 19th is World Sickle Cell Day, and September is Sickle Cell Disease Awareness Month. Sickle cell disease is a genetic red blood cell disease affecting over 100,000 people who are not only African Americans, but also Hispanic Americans and those from Africa, the Mediterranean, South America, Arab, and Southeast Asian countries. Sickle cell disease is painful, and there's no universal cure. You can telephone Cayenne Wellness Center at 818-940-0079. That's 818-940-0079. Or go to www.cayennewellness.org. That's CAYENNEWELLNESS.org for information on the 8th Annual Sickle Cell Disease Educational Seminar on September 9th and 10th, held at Charles Drew University in Los Angeles. Thank you.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Mama said eat all your vegetables. Daddy said listen to thepowerofvoices.com.
Welcome back to the Lee Michaels Show. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Stream Up. We're everywhere. Trying to get the message out. Stop the killing is the theme of the show. That was my theme yesterday. It is the same theme today. Today is Friday. I'm not on over the weekend, and I hope that when I come in Monday, the theme of the show, subject of the show, hopefully will not be the same. Hopefully, that media, and I'll name it black media, will take the heed, take the lead, and help bring calm to the neighborhoods across America. And it's not just a temporary problem. People in Chicago, every day, somebody's losing a life. There are a couple of gang members, two different gangs have called a truce. But you know what? I didn't see a reduction in the crime. Did you? Was there a significant deduction or reduction in shootings? So maybe it wasn't these two gangs involved. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But at the end of the day, I'm still seeing 50, 60 people on a weekend being shot in Chirac. I mean, come on. So what's really going on? Are these two gangs that came out, did the press conference and all of that, meeting with the cops? Did they have anything to do with it? How much power do they have? Are there members listening to these two leaders that were in the press? There are other gangs. It's not just two gangs in Chicago. So if these two guys say, okay, truce, time out, no more from our guys, what about the rest of them? Or is it all gang related? I think that there is some gang relation, some gang involvement. And I also think there's some get back. People who are not involved with gangs at all. But if you lose a brother or sister or mother or daughter, son, maybe there's some get back, some retaliation. Because people don't believe that the justice system will take care of it. That's real. I'm not making it up. I'm not trying to fan the flame. None of that. I'm just speaking the truth. I'm putting it all out there so that we can deal with it. Let's not keep sweeping it under the carpet and pretending that it doesn't exist. I hear people saying all the time, let's keep it real. Well, let's keep it real. Let's deal with the realities. Let's deal with the pain. Let's deal with the truth. Let's take all the speculation out of it. I saw Pastor on Facebook last night. And at the point that I looked at how many people were watching his message, T.D. Jakes, was over 331,000 people watching him on Facebook Live. See, when I see those type of numbers, I see people who are looking for answers. They were looking for hope. They were hoping that Pastor T.D. Jakes would give them a message to inspire them, to give them hope, direction. That's what America's looking for. That's what we need. But I'll say to you, and I respect Pastor Jakes for coming on and giving his thoughts, his prayers, his hope, and he spoke the truth. He put it out there like it is. But I submit to you, to the over 330 million people in America, you need to be a leader. You know the truth. You know what we need to do. Step up. Take the lead. Don't wait for somebody else to come along to give you direction. Now, if you have no idea what to do at this point, then yes, seek out help. Go to someone that you respect. Go to a person who you think is a good role model. Someone that you think can help you understand what's really going on. But to all the fathers, to all the mothers, the grandparents of America, it's time for us to take the lead. Let's bring the families together. Let's instill hope. Let's show our kids, our grandchildren, how to love and to respect life. Don't get so angry that you want to take someone's life. Let's not go there. Let's bring this country together. Hopefully, we do that. Our communities will change. Things will get better. Think about it. Here's a message from President Barack Obama. He gets it. I admire this man because he has instilled hope in America and around the world and is respected around the world. You can't say that this guy is weak because he has taken out more terrorists than any other president. He's taken out the top bad guys that want to bring harm to America. He has allowed us to sleep at night in America without worrying about planes flying into buildings again. And trust me, there are people in different parts of the world and some Americans that want to see that happen again. We united right after 9/11. Even I was driving around in the city of Chicago with 2 flags on the side of my car. I was proud to display that. I've always been proud of being an American. My dad fought in World War I. My uncles were in World War II. I had a brother-in-law in the Vietnam situation. I lost 12 guys in my neighborhood in Vietnam. I understand. Here's the President of the United States.
I believe that I speak for every single American when I say that we are horrified over these events and that we stand united with the people and the police department in Dallas. According to police, there are multiple suspects. We will learn more, undoubtedly, about their twisted motivations. But let's be clear, there's no possible justification for these kinds of attacks or any violence against law enforcement. The FBI is already in touch with the Dallas police, and anyone involved in these senseless murders will be held fully accountable. Justice will be done. I will have more to say about this as the facts become more clear. For now, let me just say that even as yesterday I spoke about our need to be concerned as all Americans about racial disparities in our criminal justice system, I also said yesterday that our police have an extraordinarily difficult job, and the vast majority of them do their job in outstanding fashion. I also indicated the degree to which we need to be supportive of those officers who do their job each and every day, protecting us and protecting our communities. Today is a wrenching reminder of the sacrifices that they make for us. We also know that when people are armed with powerful weapons, unfortunately, it makes attacks like these more deadly and more tragic. And in the days ahead, we're going to have to consider those realities as well. In the meantime, today, our focus is on the victims and their families. They are heartbroken. The entire city of Dallas is grieving. Police across America, which is a tight-knit family, feels this loss to their core. And we're grieving with them. I'd ask all Americans to say a prayer for these officers and their families. Keep them in your thoughts. And as a nation, let's remember to express our profound gratitude to our men and women in blue, not just today, but every day.
President Barack Obama giving a message of hope, putting it out there in a reality way. We need to listen to his message. He talked about respecting the authorities. At the same time, he recognizes the other side of that issue. So we got a lot of work to do. I love America. We can make it better. We are great. We have been great for a long time, all my life. There have been many, many changes. Relations in this country have gotten better, but we still have work to do. We have work to do. So let's go to work. Are you ready to be a leader? Become a leader. Take the lead. Do the right thing. Let your voice be heard. Be peaceful. Don't threaten anyone. Because when you go there and understand that you're hurting, there are a lot of people are crying and hurting. There's pain in their hearts. They're scared. They don't know what to do. I get it. As I've said, I've starred in this movie. I know the beginning, the middle, and the end. And you can't change it. Once that movie is made and it's pressed, every time you look at it, it's going to be that way. And it's the same movie. We've been here before. We've been here before. And we know what we need to do. Let's just do it. Let's be peaceful. No more senseless killing. And I'm not just talking about cops on people or people on cops. The black on black crime, the Latino on Latino crime, white on white crime, black on white on black, white on Latino, whatever. The loss of life is loss of life. My life is equally as valuable as anyone else. Your life is equal to my life. There's no difference. But when somebody takes your life, can't be replaced, can't be, regurgitated. It's over. When you take that last breath, it's over. This is not a movie. This is not something you can put into your DVD player and watch this horrible event, and that person who died in that movie gets up and goes home and takes a shower and has dinner with their family, and it's not like that in real life. We saw on video 2 men in the last few days take their last breath. Last night, 5 police officers in Dallas, one that worked for the transportation department and the other 4 for the Dallas Police Department. It doesn't matter which department they work for. They were humans. They are not breathing today. There's an absence of what used to be. We can't say, well, they were bad cops anyway. Can't say that. We don't know that. Even if that is the case, they can't come back. They will never be at the dinner table again. They will never be at a graduation. They will never go to church again. So, my message is let's put a stop to it. Let's stop killing each other. Stop the killing. Stop the killings. Stop it. Respect life. If you don't want to die, why take someone else's life? It's wrong. And I'm saying this to the terrorists around the world. Don't let nobody, don't let any situation get you all twisted. And whatever they're promising you, cannot make up the difference, man. You cannot go out and blow yourself up and think that there's something else on the other side of that life that's better than what you're doing right now. Don't let nobody convince you of that, because it's a lie. If they're promising you 77 versions, in that other life, tell me one person that came back and said, hey, man, it was the real deal. And if that's what's being said to you, how despicable is it to think that you want to go and have sex with 77 versions? That's twisted in itself. I'm begging. I don't want to, but I'll do it. I'm begging for human beings to stop killing each other. If you're that upset about something, go sit in the backyard, man, and drink some Kool-Aid or whatever. Just chill. Guess what? The sun will rise tomorrow, no matter what problems you're dealing with today. You may not be able to solve all your problems today, but wake up so that you can face them again tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you'll come up with a solution, but keep looking for solutions. That's the only way you're going to solve the problems, not just kicking the problem down the road. But dig deep. Look for solutions, because they're there. There is a solution to every problem. I believe that. I try to practice that in my life. There are solutions to every problem. You might be in denial. The solution might be right there in front of you. It could be whether you're in business or in a relationship or in a difficult situation that most of us are living in right now in America. There are solutions to all of this. You may be having financial problems. There's a solution to that. Look at what you're doing. Be honest with yourself. Seek some advice from someone that knows more about the situation than you do. Sometimes we're too close to the problem that we can't see the solution. Get into the creative mode to get out of the survival mode. How many of you out there listening to me right now are just surviving? Guess what? You will be in the survival mode, just getting by for the rest of your life if you don't change something that you're doing. You've got to think creatively to get out of the survival mode. Only through creativity will you get out of the survival mode. I know 500 radio stations are just surviving. And they have excuses. Well, we don't have the money to do the marketing and the promotion, and we can't hire the high-priced DJs. We can't. But what can you do? Do what you can do. Think outside of the box. Don't keep following your competition. Do something different. Make it better. Just because the hot format this week is hip-hop, do something different. People are looking for something different all the time. Make it different and great. Don't just do something, well, okay, they're playing 27 songs, we're going to play 55. No, that's not it. That's too subtle. Make it really different. Break the mold. Be bold. Those same principles and concepts apply to everything in life. Your relationship with your wife or your husband is jacked up, change it. If you can't fix it, then it's time to go. If neither one of you can come together and deal with the problem and come up with solutions, don't sit there and keep beating your head against the wall. It's time to go. Otherwise, it's going to evolve into something worse than what you're in right now. You got to know when to fold. Does that make sense? Now, I see a lot of people listening and watching us, and I appreciate that. Tell your friends about this broadcast. Tell your friends about the positive message that's needed to be a leader. Help your friends, your family members, neighbors, co-workers. Ask them to become a leader. Don't wait for somebody to come by and say, hey, I'm the new guy. I'm on the mountaintop. Listen to me. No, you go to the mountaintop. Let's have so many leaders on the mountaintop that the mountain ain't big enough to handle all. Go look for solutions. They're out there. Most of us know the answer to our problems, and you keep ignoring it. Now that's boo-boo the fool. That's a real jackrabbit. You're in denial. Time for some tough love now. You're staring the solutions in the face, and you're turning a blind eye to it. Shame on you. Then you keep waddling in that slop. You want to be in the survival mode. You want to have a hate-filled life. That's sad, man. Life is too short. You may not wake up tomorrow. And when you look back on your life, you look back and say, damn, I didn't get a chance to do whatever. I wish I had one more day. Hey, Lord, give me 5 more years because I didn't complete that task. Don't go there. Get busy now. Let's do it, folks. 424-227-9461. 424-227-9461. Young Castile, I got to tell you, I had a hard time sleeping last night because I kept seeing this image of this young man laying in this car with very, very minimal movement, fighting for his life. And we saw no one offering any help. That's a tough image. And I feel so, so sorry for that 4-year-old little girl in the back seat. She's right about at the age where that image, those gunfires, her mother on Facebook is engraved in her mind, in her life. Diamond. She's in a horrible place. Horrible place. This young man, from all accounts that we've heard, was a mild-mannered, respectable young man who was engaged to Diamond, was about to become the father of that little girl. He was already providing for them, spending time with them. They had just left the grocery store. He had visited with his mom. From my understanding, he was living at home with his mom. And they had talked around 2 o'clock that day. And his sister Said, I don't know if I want to continue to carry my weapon, even though I have the legal right to do so. I have the necessary paperwork, because I'm afraid I might be shot. And then the questions might be asked afterwards. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Time out, America. Let's get it together. Philando Castile, a name that we had never heard of until just a few days ago. It's unfortunate that we had to be introduced to this young man and never really get a chance to really know him. All we know is he worked at a school, a manager in the cafeteria, and everybody had nothing but praise about this young man. Said he was calm, laid back, loving, tax-paying, good citizen, never arrested, all of that. Life is gone. The light is out. This young man, we'll never get to really, really know him. Have some audio here about this young man, and we'll also hear in this clip his sister with emotions talking about her brother and this whole situation. Let's listen to this.
Castile, who managed the cafeteria of a local elementary school, is described by coworkers as quiet, respectful, and kind. His sister watched on Facebook as he took his last breath.
I'm watching him fight for his life. And I'm trying to tell her to go faster. I'm trying to get
The officer is on paid leave tonight and will be identified once investigators finish questioning him. There are calls for the Justice Department to step in. Right now, they say they are monitoring the situation and will assist if necessary.
I think it's necessary. Because if you don't, if the Justice Department does not look into this, it will leave questions in everyone's mind as to whether or not the local police will do the right thing, whether they'll have a biased eye to it. So I think an independent eye. I think the family should hire their own investigators. There's nothing wrong with checking and rechecking. If you're a carpenter, you know the rule of measure twice, cut once. Check and recheck in every situation. I think we owe that to this young man to ensure the truth is known. We owe that to anyone who loses their life, even in the case of a criminal. You know, what if this guy Castile had a negative pass? Would that matter? If his life was taken in this particular event unjust? So I think all we need to do is to go through the process. Go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Take the time necessary. And let's get to the bottom of it. But in the meantime, let's be patient. Let's be peaceful. Let's not tear up our neighborhoods. Let's not fight with the authorities. Let the system do its job. Now, I know there are many people out there that don't believe in the system. It's like recently in the news with the political situation with Hillary Clinton. There are people who believe the FBI are doing a cover-up. Now the State Department is looking into it, and they're doing their own investigation. Okay, that's fine. Let's go through the process. Now, there are some people in the reports out of the State Department, they believe that, what they have seen from the investigation of the FBI, there's enough evidence there to bring some charges. So let them do their thing. And let's wait for the outcome of that. Now, if they come back and find that there are chargeable situations here, and then they bring charges, then what? So the FBI said no. State Department says yes. Where do we go then? To the Supreme Court? When does it end? What's the next step? If they find, okay, well, she lied because she knew that there was some emails that were classified on that server. Okay. Let's go down that road. My question or concern is, okay, let's assume for a second that is what happened. Let's assume that maybe those emails should not have gone through that email server. Okay, so the $64,000 question in my mind is, did anyone see that information that should not have? There, to me, would be then some damage. We are, and I said it earlier, all human. We're all capable of making mistakes, and I'm not making excuses, and I'm not trying to defend Hillary Clinton in any way. Because if she or someone in her administration at that time did something wrong that caused a security breach for this country, then there should be some consequences. But let's not mess up this situation on some petty stuff that caused no damage. Now, I hear the voices in my head of saying, well, she lied. Well, if it comes out, or if she in fact did tell a lie, did she knowingly tell a lie? Or was she going on what was told to her? I guarantee you, I would bet 99 cents that Hillary Clinton knows about this much about a damn server. She probably knows this much about a firewall. Or what's good, bad, or indifferent. Now, she certainly knows what's classified or not. She certainly knows who should have been putting eyeballs on this information or not. So again, as I see it, at this point in time, to not cause a total catastrophic breakdown in the American system, if there was no damage done, let's move on. And let me be transparent here. While most of my voting, all of my voting has been Democratic. I've always voted for a Democrat. I'm not trying to defend Hillary Clinton because she was not my candidate of choice. I was a Bernie supporter. I like Hillary. I think Hillary and Bernie were closer together in their ideals and platform that they were running on than they were apart. But I like Bernie's message more. I don't like the carnival barker much at all. I don't have a lot of respect for him as a man first. That's why he can't earn my vote. I've been close to voting Republicans for a Republican in the past. Probably the closest one was Reagan, but I couldn't buy his apple either. That's the closest that I got to voting for a Republican. I didn't trust the Bushes. And who was it? Nixon. Who else was a Republican in there? But whoever they were, their message to me didn't speak to me as an individual. That's why they didn't earn my vote. So I tend to believe and live more in the center than I do right or left. Okay? My belief system. But I'm not an extremist on either Republican or Democratic side. I think there's some extreme things on the Democratic side that I don't agree with. There's certainly things on the Republican side, the extremists, that I can't get down with either. I'm closer to the center. There's some things that the Republicans believe in that I get. And there's some things on the Democratic side that I get. Who do I trust the most? That's why I voted Democratic. So I wanted to put that out there. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm sitting here hacking and stumping for Hillary Clinton. I'm not. I would rather be on the stump for Bernie. But that's me. And I respect your choice 100. It's not personal. But it is, because we all have to make a personal choice about who we want as our president, and governors and senators and House of Representatives, both on the federal and the state level, and mayors and the other local officials that we have to vote for. So it's all important. But our message today is stop the killing. The killings need to stop. I want to first appeal to the citizens in Chicago. I love Chicago. I worked with several radio stations there. I have 2 kids that were born in the Chicago area. I have an attachment, a love for that city. I've had great success in the city of Chicago. I have a lot of friends there. I have a lot of associates there. So it pains me when I continue to see primarily young people that will not have a chance in life because their lifeline is being cut every day. Somebody new dying in Chicago. And folks, these are not cops killing these kids in most cases. These are citizens against citizens. Black on black crime. Hispanic on Hispanic crime. Y'all need to stop that, man. Stop it. Stop it. You'll end up like countries in different parts of the world that have been warring with each other forever until everybody's gone. You will destroy the city of Chicago. The image, the negativity, the fear that you are creating. Part of the reason probably you didn't get the nod for the Olympics was because of the image, the negative image of Chicago that people are hearing around the world. Don't you love yourself more than that? Don't you have any self-respect? Do you understand what that means? That your property value is going down? Look at all the houses on the south side and part of the west side, parts of the north side, nobody is living in. They can't sell them for $20,000 because nobody wants to live in your neighborhood. And when I lived there last in 2013 and part of 2014, I was on the south side. I had never lived in the city of Chicago, and I worked in and out of there for almost 20 years, but I always lived in the suburbs, south suburbs or western suburbs. Did buy some property way north, didn't end up finishing the build-out on it because of the jackass developers. I was maybe 10 miles from the Wisconsin line. I bought a little over 10 acres of land. I was going to build a 16,000 square foot house on it that I personally designed. It was my dream house. And this neighborhood is up in the area called Gurnee. So people there in the local Chicago area, you know where I'm talking about. Right near the amusement park up there. I wanted to have an electronic gate in front of my property so I could push a button, the gate opens up, I can drive through, and then push the button and it closes behind me, right? Well, that was one thing they didn't want me to have. They said, no, because this is an equestrian area, and they had this white PVC fence, and they wanted that throughout the whole neighborhood, and I wanted some kind of a wrought iron gate, to go into my driveway. And they said, no, it has to be this white PVC and no electronic gate. I said, wait a minute. I'm going to build the biggest, most expensive house in this neighborhood, and you're going to tell me I can't do it because I want this gate? Then they want me to put another $150,000 in landscaping when I was already $50,000 or $60,000 over the minimum requirement. So that was another thing. Then they wanted me to put some more brick on the front of the building. I said, okay, I'll do the brick thing. Okay, cool. But what was the deal breaker for me was the gate. I could almost work with them on the number of trees and stuff that they wanted. But the gate, I was not going to get out of my damn car, go over and detach the gate, push it open, get back in my car, drive through, get out of my car, go back and close the gate every time I go in and out of the yard. I was not going to do that. And that was a deal breaker for me. Now, what human being wants to get out of their car, especially in the wintertime? You got snow on the ground, it's 12 below zero. Is going to do that. Who would want that? Their solution was just leave the gate open. The hell? Why have a gate? Why have a fence around your why they require you to have this PVC white fence around your property? A requirement. So I went around to some of the other neighbors and asked how they felt about it. Because what I was told was, no, you can't do it now because we want to make sure to maintain everything, to be consistent. And then when we sell the subdivision out, then you, the homeowners, will be in charge of the association, the homeowners association. If you guys want to change it, blah, 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 blah. I said, I'm not waiting 10 years because at the rate you guys are going, you're not going to sell this thing out for a long time because your whole idea and concept is jacked up. So I ended up selling the land back to the developer. And I made a few dollars on it, but I just, to me, that was just, I wasn't willing to compromise at that point. And all of the people that I talked to, there was only 5 or 6 other people at that point that had already built there. And they all agreed with me. And they all wanted a gate also. Okay? They all wanted the same thing that I wanted. And they had been turned down, but they were willing to, okay, well, I'm not that guy. I wasn't willing to compromise on that. So we all have a limit. There's always, not always, but in many situations, you're just not going to give in to certain things that just don't make sense. So how in the hell did I get on that story anyway? I don't know how y'all got me over there. 424-227-9461. Help me come back to reality. 424-227-9461. Damn, I wanted to build that house up there. I sure did. Oh, well. It was a house that was inspired, the basic layout, from a house that I was in the process of buying up in northern Marin County, and ended up not closing on that house to go back to Chicago, to come back to WBMX back in 85, I think it was. So that layout inspired me. I think the original house in the city of Novato, California, northern Marin County, just before you go into Petaluma. That was the inspiration. And then when I talked to the builder, he says, well, do you have an idea of what you want? I said, yeah, I can lay it out. So I went home and took everything off the dining room table and got me this paper, and I drew the lines and everything the way I wanted it. Now, the original house was around 6,000 square feet. My final plan came out a little over 16,000 square feet. Indoor pool. I lost my damn mind. I really did. I mean, I went way. I was out in the stratosphere on this project. But if you don't dream, if you don't, what the hell? Why not? You work hard, and I wanted that for the family. But anyway, I digress. So I ended up buying a boat. And that's another story. Oh, Lord have mercy. The life of Lee Michaels and his travels. I'm going to write the book. I will. All my friends can, Lee, when are you going to do the book, man? In fact, Chela Diaz, who was one of our talk show here at the Power of Voices, was here in the studio yesterday, recording one of her shows. And while she was recording, I was sitting here, watching her do her thing. And she had a guest on that was one of these life coaches. And no. This was a PR expert, public relations company. And they were talking about books and stuff like that. And she kept cutting her eye over at me because Chela and I have had conversations about me writing my book or books. I've got several I want to do. And so it was one of those things where, you see, you need to do it now. And I have started. I've started dictating on my first book. And my friend Zamira Jones has been on my case as well to do it. And Z, I'm coming. I'm coming with the book. When I have it finished, I'm going to put it in your hands. And then it's on you. It's off me. I'm going to give you the book, Z. Then you do your magic. For those who don't know Zamira Jones, he's an incredible human being, first of all. God-fearing man. A great radio guy. Great radio. Radio, y'all lost a great radio mind. Now he's a marketing guy, marketing expert, certified guy. And he's one of my inspirations. And after both of us have had great radio careers, broadcast careers, both radio and television, we have moved on to a different space. He's big into the internet thing and marketing and developing new talent, and I'm kind of in that same space. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you today. It's what keeps me going. The fun of it, the challenge, the need, the opportunities that I want to help make happen for other people. This is not about me. I'm not making money doing this. I'm doing this because I love it. I'm doing this because I want to help people. I'm doing it because I think I have something to say that I want you to hear. I want to be an inspiration to you. That's why I do this. I've already been beyond my wildest dreams in the field, in the broadcast business that I love so much. I've surpassed my dreams, my wildest thoughts. I've done it. And there were people who helped me along the way. And I appreciate them. I love them and I respect them. Men and women that have been inspiration to me. And if it were not for them, I would not have enjoyed the success that I have. So I want to carry that torch. And I feel like my life is a relay race. And I'm constantly running and handing the torch to someone else, that baton, so they can run a little further, a little faster, a little harder, and they can pass it on to the next person in line. That's my role. That's the position that I have decided to be in. And I'm happy with that. So when I ask you to become a leader, that's what I'm talking about. You can lead through doing what you love, what you have a passion for, and helping others. That's a leader. That's what I'm talking about. You don't have to be a Martin Luther King, a president of the United States, a bank chairman, and you don't have to go there. Yeah, you can do that. I'm not saying don't do those kind of jobs. But you can be a leader living on West Avenue in Jablippi, Mississippi. A leader in your household. A leader in your neighborhood. Your county. Your city. Your state. Your country. All kinds of leaders. Little leaders. Big leaders. But lead something. Lead some people to the right place. The right frame of mind. Keep some love, some respect, some honor, some God. Whatever you believe in, whatever kind of religion, that's okay. Have some of that in there too. Because that's what keeps you going and grounded and true. That's where you need to live. That's who you should be. You don't have to be appointed by someone else. Someone else doesn't have to say, that's my dog. That's my leader. And you don't want to do it. You shouldn't do it for ego. Do it because you love what you do. You see a need. You're trying to help people. You're trying to inspire people. You see someone doing something that's not cool, correct it. I don't think there was anything wrong with the values that I was raised on. When I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, I lived in 2 places that I can remember as a kid. 3. We lived on West Avenue in a little area called Lindenwood. And I lived on Princess Anne Road in Roberts Park. There was another street, and I can't remember that because I was like 3 or 4 years old. And then we moved to Princess Anne Avenue. And back in those days, they were called the projects. But it was a proud project. There were good people that lived there. My next door neighbor Still in touch with him. T-Bone. Ernest Bright. And his mom, Miss Louise. Good people. Miss Louise was like an aunt or mom. When my mom wasn't around and I was out in the backyard and T-Bone and I were out there cutting up, acting a fool, she would say, "Hey, boy, what y'all doing out there? Go home." She would check us, and nobody got mad. My mom didn't come home and say, "Miss Louise, you can't talk to my son like that." If my mom found out I was doing something wrong, I wasn't outside, I was outside and shouldn't have been, or we went out in the woods, as we called it, trying to catch some little guppies, little fish, crabbing or whatever we were doing back there, coming home all muddy and stuff. If my next door neighbor or the people that lived on the other side over there corrected us, nobody got mad. Nobody went to somebody else's house and said, "Don't talk to my child like that." They appreciated the fact. But more importantly, my mom would know before she got home, because somebody would make the phone call and say, "Hey, that boy is out there cutting up." So when she got home, I caught hell again. You know, we weren't murdering nobody or shooting guns or none of that. We might have gotten into a tussle every now and then, but it was okay. In 20 minutes, we were, playing marbles, playing war together, little plastic soldiers. You remember those? And we played cowboys and Indians and war. I might have been the Americans, and T-Bone might have been the Germans. And we played war in the backyard. Bang, bang, boom, boom. I blew you up. Here comes a hand grenade. But nobody killed nobody. None of that. So I'm suggesting that we need to have that neighborhood environment again. Know who your neighbor is. Do you know who your neighbor is? Have you ever been to their house? Have they been to your house? Have you invited them to a barbecue? Have you gotten to know the Joneses next door? Do you know the people that live across the street from you? Or you just wave to them? "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm good." "Okay, on the way to work. See you later." You may not even know their first name. That's not a neighborhood. That's just people that live across the street. And it cracks me up when I see breaking news. Man rapes 3 children and shoots his wife and blah, blah. And then when they interview the neighbors, "Well, I really didn't know Mr. Jones. We used to see him every now and then. He seemed like a nice guy who cut his grass. Yeah, every Saturday he was out there cutting his grass. Seemed like a nice guy. I'm really surprised to hear that, he was a maniac like that. Wow. I'm blown away." You didn't know the guy. Never, sat down and broke bread with the cat. Never had a beer with him. You didn't know him. You just saw, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm good." Get to know your neighbors. We used to, nobody was really, really wealthy or anything like that. And out of convenience, sometimes T-Bone would come over and say, "Hey, man, I need a cup of sugar, a cup of flour." Okay. Get the flour, get the sugar, whatever you need. "You got any potatoes?" "Yeah. Yeah, okay. We need some rice." Whatever. We did that. You're 15 minutes away from finishing cooking your dinner and you needed a little sugar, salt, whatever. You went to a neighbor and you got it. You didn't run down to the store. It wasn't back in those days. It wasn't no 7-Eleven over there on the corner. The grocery store was inconvenient to walk to. Most people didn't have a car back in those days, so you had to walk or take a bus, a cab, or wait for your uncle to come by who had a car to take you wherever you're going to go. So your next door neighbor was the 7-Eleven. So you go over and borrow a cup of sugar, flour, 4 or 5 potatoes, and make some homemade French fries. Those were neighbors. You knew them. If your parents were going to be late, you had to go next door and hang out over there and wait until your parents come home. And it was cool. And if Miss Louise had made dinner, she would offer you dinner. And everybody was cool. What happened? What happened? Why is that not today? Because we are too independent, we're too selfish. We don't want nobody in our business. We don't want nobody to know us. So the neighborhood doesn't exist anymore. You're just living next door to some people that you don't know. And a lot of times you don't want to know them out of fear. But if you get to know me, I get to know you. Now we are building a neighborhood. People back in the day, if you needed some work on your house, men would come together and fix the house. You needed a new roof, put up a new fence, whatever it was. You had a plumbing issue. You didn't have the necessary tools, but you knew how to do it. And Mr. Williams down the street had the tools because he's a plumber. And you really didn't have the money to pay him. But Mr. Williams would come down with his tools and say, okay, man, let's knock this out. And he'd crawl up under your house and cut out the pipe that froze. And boom, it was done. The next time you go crabbing, you come back with 2 bushel of crab. You take a bushel of crab down there to Mr. Williams for helping you out. That was a neighborhood. That was called sharing, working together, passing some love, having respect for each other, appreciation. Now we've got, too independent. I'm making $100,000 a year. My wife is making $150,000, and we live in large, and you don't even know your neighbors. And you live in a neighborhood now that might be mixed. Well, I don't want to know those people over there. They're white. Well, I don't want to know those people over there. There's some black people living over in that house. That's stupid. That's ignorant. This is America. This is 2016. Let that stuff go, man. Let it go. If you're sitting around, with that bitter taste in your mouth, and I don't care what you've been through, because we've all been through something, but you can't blame the world on some other idiot that disrespected you or took advantage of you or hurt you. Come on. Life is too short. Life is way too short for that, man. It's better to know your neighbor than not to know your neighbor, because then that removes all question about their character and who they are. Now, you may meet your neighbor and start developing a relationship, and they might turn out to be a jackrabbit. Now you've got a choice because you have some empirical data to base an opinion on. So if you decide, okay, well, he's not my cup of tea. I don't want to be around people like them. That's fair. That's fair. But you gave it a shot. Now you know that person is not somebody you want to be associated with. But they might be. They might be there when you need them. The neighborhood watch thing. You might be on vacation. If you got a good relationship with the people that live to the left of you, the right of you, and across the street and down the street, and they see somebody going in your door while you're on vacation, you might want to get a text message from them. Even though you might have security installed in your house, but that might not work either. What if the power is out in your house and you don't have a backup battery situation that keeps your phone line and your security system working? Or maybe this is a real professional and they've Dismantle all your stuff. The neighbor is your fallback position because they see somebody kicking your door in or going through the window or whatever way of entry they're using. That's your fail-safe right there. The neighbor said, hey, Mr. Michaels, hey, Lee, got some cats going in your side of your house, man. Oh, for real? Call 911 for me, man. I'm in Hawaii. Thank you. So now you know, because your neighbor's looking out for you. What happened to that? What happened to that? That's missing. MIA. So get your household together. Be a leader in your house. Know your neighbors. Build a relationship on your block. Start there. Then your neighborhood. Spread out from there. Then your county, your city, your state, your country. Become united. Become familiar. Become respectful. Dedicate some time to that, ladies and gentlemen. And all this crazy that's going on will evaporate because love will win out over all of that. If you know your neighbors, you know people, now you have a reason to love and respect them because you know them. Okay? Do that. Try it. Give it a try. Be a leader. Start that. Be a leader. My show is coming to an end today. 2 days in a row, I felt compelled to label it Stop the Killing. Please, don't make me beg again. Please stop. Do something. Do something positive. Become a leader. Talk to your kids. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your coworkers. Be a leader. Don't go looking for one. Be a leader. Be about leading. Make a difference. Start today. Don't delay. Don't put it off and say, oh, yeah, that's a good idea, Lee, but, I'll look into that next week. No. Next week might be too late. Be a leader. Start today. Have a safe weekend. Spread some love. Keep your city calm. Participate in positive meetings, gatherings. You want to go out and protest? That's fine. Do it peacefully. And if you feel like you're ready to shoot somebody, think about it. Change your mind. It's about living, keeping life moving forward. Have a wonderful weekend. God be with you. Be a leader.